Hi everyone, Heather here with astrologywithheather.com, and I am back with another weekly forecast. This one is for Monday, October 5th, all the way through to Sunday, October 11th of 2020. And this week is actually bringing in some positive energy. There's still some tension left over because we will have Mars squaring Pluto, which we'll talk about in just a bit. But we have a really inspiring, really positive energy that's going to create the need to change something, and to change something in a beneficial way that'll help to bring us back into balance. This is an energy that will be kind of fleeting this week, but will come back around 2 more times due to Mercury's retrograde cycle. And again, we're going to get into this in just a minute. But before we do, I just want to mention for those of you who are new to my channel that the way that I do these videos is that first I start with a 5 to 10 minute general overview of the energy. And this is really important to listen to. Definitely don't skip it, because this will provide an important context that will help you to better understand your more personal forecast for your sign. Speaking of which, when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs, I highly recommend that you listen to your rising sign, sun sign, and moon sign. Your rising sign is going to be the predominant energy, the sun sign will be secondary, and the moon sign is also important to listen to, although the influence will typically be more internalized, subjective, and less physical than it will be for the sun or for the rising sign. And because so many of you asked me this question last week, I used the tropical Western zodiac, and so there you go. And so listen for your tropical signs. And then finally, at the end of the video, I'm doing something new where I give a brief overview of the energy that I'm going to be covering in next week's forecast. And so if you want to get ahead of the game, if you're interested in that information, definitely stick around until the end. All right, so let's get into it. So basically this week, we have a few different really important influences. We're going to have a combination of really tense, really intense, really obsessive, really sort of like fierce energy with that Mars square Pluto, and Pluto's still not moving very quickly because Pluto stationed last week, if you remember my forecast. And so Pluto is still barely moving. Mars is retrograde, and Mars is actually going to come into an exact square with Pluto on Friday, which is going to heat up a lot of those tensions that we've been talking about for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And this is actually an energy that can bring obsession with getting ahead, obsession with creating what you want to create and pushing forward with something. But Saturn, of course, is telling us no, slow down, wait. It's not time to launch into it just yet. And so, of course, we'll get into that more when we get into the forecast for all 12 signs. But the energy that I'm actually most interested in talking about is Mercury opposing Uranus and Venus coming in and trining Uranus and sextiling Mercury. And so this is actually a very powerful, very positive configuration. Anytime Mercury and Uranus come together, this is an inspiring energy, an energy that awakens us to new potentials, new possibilities, that liberates us from our current framework, our current state of mind. So that way we can resolve old issues in new and exciting ways and create new things, create new plans. Think about things that we never would have thought of before because they're so outside of the box. We can get messages and communications and connections that come in from other people that shake us out of our old framework and that cause us to think about things in new ways so that way we can do things in new ways. And this is especially going to be the case because we'll have Venus in the mix. And so a lot of inspiration, a lot of liberating energy, a lot of energy that causes us to feel much more free and much more rebellious, but in a good way, right? This is an energy where we've been needing to change something. We've been feeling very stuck, very stagnant. We want to move forward with stuff, but there's this really intense Mars square to all of those planets in Capricorn that's been going on for weeks and weeks and weeks now. And so there's this like stalling out energy in one area of our lives, but there's this energy of liberation and of needing to start something new or needing to do things in a new way. That's going to be very exciting, and that's going to be coming about in a different area of our lives. And so that almost provides an outlet where We can actually rebel against our current circumstances. We can let go of that stuck, stagnant energy. Even though it might not be directly related to the thing we're feeling stuck on, it still is going to feel very good to get out there and shake things up. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in the forecast for all 12 signs. And before we do, I just have a couple of very quick announcements. The first one being that my fall electional astrology guide, which is an in-depth, it's an electional calendar, it's a written guide. There are video forecasts for the entire month for September, October, and November. It's now 30% off, so you can still harness the best energies to ensure that you'll be successful in whatever you initiate in October and November. And so that is down in the description below. And the other announcement is that I'm doing a really in-depth webinar about the astrology for 2021. That's going to be happening on October 27th. It's a donation-based webinar, which means you pay whatever feels good to you. I don't care if you can pay 50 cents or $50. I just want you to be there, and I want you to be able to understand what's coming up next year so nobody feels blindsided like a lot of people did this year by the really crazy astrology. Although next year is going to bring some opportunities as well to shift. And so that link is down in the description below as well. If you can't attend live, there will be a recorded version available within 48 hours of the live event. And so again, down in the description below, check that out. I hope to see a lot of you there. And so let's get into the forecast for all 12 signs, beginning with Aries and Aries Rising. And let me get my zodiac signs up here for you. All right, so for Aries and for Aries Rising, unfortunately for Aries, there will be more tension than there will be for some of the other signs. Of course, you'll get the liberating energy. Of course, you'll get the inspiration and the excitement. But I think that some of that might be overshadowed for the cardinal signs in particular, just because Mars is so intense in square with Pluto. So part of this energy is going to be you feeling obsessive and just feeling like you really need to control everything that's going on and push forward with something involving your own self-interest, your own needs, and also your career and your public reputation. This could be arguments, disputes, trying to force your way, or somebody else trying to force their hand on you when it comes to their ability to exercise their power and authority and kind of hold it over your head. So there can be some challenges there. Kind of on the least challenging level, I would say, this could be just you feeling like you're so ambitious, you're so amped up, you want something to happen, and you are going to make it happen no matter what. And if you try to force it, if you try to go against, what Saturn's asking you to do, which is to take it slow, to do it the right way, if you try to push, you might hurt somebody, you might destroy your reputation, you might cause conflict at work or in your career. And so you want to really take things slow. Don't obsess over it. Don't try to control everything that's going on. If you do, that can cause some issues. And that's going to be the case really all year long. I did a forecast for Mars in Aries for the entire 6-month period that it's going to be in there. I highly recommend going back and listening to that if you haven't already. I'll post the video at the end of this video. I'll post the link to the video at the end of this video so you can see it up on your screen and watch it next if you want to. But that's going to be kind of a predominant energy really for the next month or two. But it's very intense right now. The other thing that's going on, of course, is Mercury is opposing Uranus. And so this is an energy that's going to come back around 3 times. And so right now, it could bring some sort of inspiration, a new idea, or a communication that comes in through somebody that you care about or somebody that you're interacting with that causes you to rethink the way that you are creating your resources, especially through your work and your day-to-day activities. And this can actually shake things up and inspire you to do something in a new way that's going to help you to make more money, that's going to help you to break free from any financial restrictions or stagnancy. It could be an investment, it could be a purchase, it could be changing your job or changing your work routines or taking on a new project. If this does come around this week, it might be kind of fleeting. However, it will come back around. This is going to be a very strong energy really for the next 3 weeks or so because Mercury is going to be stationing next week in opposition to Uranus, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And it's going to be coming back around on, October 19th, and then it'll be finalized in November. So whatever it is coming up right now for you, if it doesn't manifest into something right now, that's okay. It doesn't mean that it won't. It just means that you're going to have to revisit it, rethink it, reevaluate in a couple of weeks, and then it'll be finalized, and these new ideas, these new inspirations will liberate you from something. It'll just probably take until the middle of November for it to be fully formed and for it to really manifest in your life. Okay, and for Taurus rising. So for Taurus, this is a really exciting placement. I think this is probably going to be the most positive and the most exciting for Taurus and Taurus rising in particular, especially if your sun, moon, or rising is around that 9th degree. I would say anywhere from 4 to 14 degrees in the sign of Taurus, you're going to be feeling this the most, and you're going to be feeling this really in a positive way. You're probably feeling restless right now, super, super restless. And this is going to be an energy where your mind is going to be super, super active. You're going to have racing thoughts, all sorts of ideas, all sorts of inspirations, and it's going to be hard to pinpoint exactly which thing is the thing that you need to do. The thing that you need to do is the thing that you can get other people on board with. If you're inspired to do something in partnership or to change something in your partnership, if you're inspired to be more romantic, to enjoy your life more, to have more pleasure, to engage in the hobbies, the interests, the things that you love to do because you love to do them in partnership with somebody, then this is a really great time to take hold of that energy. This is where a communication can come in through somebody that you care about that changes your world, changes your life, and causes you to break free from anything that's stagnant or anything that you've been wanting to rebel against, but maybe you've been holding back on because you're comfortable where you are and you're afraid to shake things up. That fear will be completely let go of. And this doesn't necessarily mean that it's all going to come to fruition this week. So this is an energy that's going to come back around after Mercury goes retrograde on October 19th. And so around that time, you'll have to revisit whatever inspiration or message or idea has come in. And then it won't really be finalized or resolved until the middle of November. And that's when you'll see some real manifestation of these ideas, of these inspirations. If there's a problem you've been stuck on, especially involving a partnership or a relationship, now's the time where you will figure that out, and it'll just come to you like, oh my gosh, how did I not think of this before? Okay, and then for Gemini and for Gemini rising, actually, let's go back to Taurus for a second. The one thing I forgot to mention is there still will be a little bit of tension. We've talked about this quite a bit, and so I don't want to dwell on it. Definitely go back to some of the previous forecasts, especially the one that I did for Mars in Aries for the entire 6 months that it's in Aries, because I talk about this quite a bit. But there is going to be some sort of power struggle or difficulty or challenge that will come up this week where you feel obsessed over a certain belief or ideology, and definitely don't hold on too strongly to that. This is a time for you to purge and let go of your control or your preconceived notions or any dogmatic beliefs that you have. So arguing your point to death, probably not going to serve you well this week. Okay, so for Gemini and for Gemini rising. So for you, this is actually going to be an energy where there's a need to change something or shake something up involving your work, your habits, your daily routines, even your health, or the way that you show up in service of others. It could even involve something with animals or pets, because that's also a 6th house signification. And so it could be that you feel inspired to do something that's going to change your work or change your habits and your routine, so that way you have more freedom to explore and study the unusual concepts, the interesting things that you've been kind of working on and pondering behind closed doors. This is also going to allow you more freedom to express and to practice your own unique form of spirituality. And so this could even be an inspiration that allows you to incorporate that into your day-to-day experience, into your health habits and routines, or even into your work in some way. And so maybe you can sneakily, incorporate some of these more esoteric or more spiritual concepts into the work that you're doing, or view your work as being more spiritual or more of service. This is where a family member or somebody close to you in your home environment or in your place of living might come in and give you that source of inspiration that can be really, really exciting for you. And so definitely pay attention to that. Or it could be that you're shaking up your routine so that way your home life and your experience in your home is much more balanced and harmonious moving forward. The energy of Mars squaring Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, all of that. Again, tensions, power struggles. You could be obsessing over something involving your finances or joint finances or a debt, or obsessing over an important friendship or group association, or wanting to exercise power and control over something involving a group. If that's the case, this is a time for surrender and not a time for pushing. If you force your hand or force your way, you can definitely end up feeling more stressed, more burnt out, or causing some sort of conflict that could take a long time to resolve. If you want more information about that, definitely check out my forecast for Mars in Aries for the entire 6-month period. I talked a little bit about this there, and I'm going to put a link up at the end of this video. Okay, and then for Cancer and for Cancer rising. So for Cancers, this energy is happening actually in your, let's see here, your 11th and your 5th house. This is actually a really great energy for Cancers, and that Venus is trining your descendant and sextiling your ascendant. So especially if you're a Cancer rising, but even if you're not, if you're Sun, Moon, and Cancer, anywhere, especially between the what was it that I was saying here? The 4th and the 14th degree. Sorry. Math is hard today. So anywhere between 4 and 14 degrees, you're going to be feeling this in the most positive way. You're going to be feeling so inspired. This is a very social energy where you want to get out there. You want to socialize. You want to brainstorm with a group. You want to bounce your ideas off of people that you care about, people that you trust, people that think about things in different ways than you think about them, because you're going to get a lot of really inspiring, really exciting new ideas. This is a great time to shake things up in relationships or to form new relationships or new friendships. And so if you put yourself out there this week, especially in group situations or in social situations, and especially in group situations that involve things that you love and that you care about, you will get that inspiration that you're looking for, and you will find those connections that you've been looking for. They might not fully stick, or you might not fully understand the significance of the communications and connections that are coming this week until they come back around. And so they'll come back around on October 19th, that person, those people, that situation, that idea, that inspiration, it'll show back up, and you'll have to sort of revisit it, reevaluate it. And it won't fully come to pass or fully come to fruition and manifestation, probably not until the middle of November. But this is a time where that initial inspiration, that initial connection sparks something that's really exciting for you. The area where things can be a little tense is in power struggles involving business partnerships and business relationships. Romantic partnerships, yes, especially if your Cancer rising sign is toward the end degrees, really anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees, then you're going to be feeling the tense side of your close personal relationships more so than that liberating, exciting energy. And so just know that obsessing over your career path, obsessing over your relationships, trying to control every little thing that the other person is doing, not a good idea right now. That's going to cause some problems. If you haven't already done so, I highly recommend checking out my Mars and Aries 6-month forecast that I did, where I talk about this energy pretty in depth. And that's going to be pulled up at the end of this video, so you can check that out at the end. All right, and then for Leo and for Leo rising. So for Leos, this energy with Mercury in opposition to Uranus in this really nice trine with Venus and Virgo, this is a great time to change something or to get inspired to change something involving your work, and especially involving your career, that can actually create much more balance and harmony for you financially, or even bring in resources in unexpected, shocking, new, exciting ways. Utilizing technology in your work in new and exciting ways can actually be quite beneficial to you, branching out and doing something rebellious, different, or new that is completely outside of the norm for you with your work. So putting yourself out there and doing something that's very different or that's ahead of its time or that might be viewed by people in positions of power and authority as unusual. It's going to go completely against the status quo and completely against what people are used to seeing from you, but this is going to be profitable. So I highly recommend paying attention to that. It could even be that somebody in a position of authority gives you that inspiration, gives you that idea, or gives you a new project. And it's like, that's weird. I've never done something like that before. I feel kind of scared or hesitant, but it's going to be, I think, a positive thing for you. Or that inspiration can come through a family member. It could be that your parents or your children, people who live with you, they could tell you, oh, I have this really great idea. You could do this thing. Or this could be an inspiration to shake things up in a way that allows you to work more from home. So you can have a better work-life balance and more excitement in your home life and in your business life. Oh, actually, I keep forgetting to talk about these things. So another thing that's going on in your work though, so it's probably that you want to shake things up because you've been feeling so oppressed and burdened and just weighted down by your responsibilities on a day-to-day basis in your work. For those of you who are working, there could also be health concerns or issues involving your daily routines where every single day just feels like a struggle. It feels like you have so much to do. If that is the case, you're going to be obsessing over that. You're going to feel really like inspired or ambitious toward creating something new or toward achieving your health goals or your work goals this week. Don't overdo it, right? This isn't about pushing and like forcing something to happen. If you try to do that, you're going to reach your breaking point. This is definitely an energy where Leos and Leo risings in particular can burn out and end up making themselves sick. So don't push too hard. Don't obsess over it. Release, surrender. And if you haven't already done so, watch my video where I do a forecast for the entire 6 months that Mars will be in Aries. I'm going to have that video pulled up at the end of this video, so you can watch that next if you haven't already done so. Okay, and then for Virgo and for Virgo rising. For Virgos, this is another energy. I mean, this is great for a lot of people, but this is going to be especially wonderful for the earth signs. And so Uranus is in the sign of Taurus. And so especially if you are a Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, anywhere from 4 and 14 degrees, you're going to be feeling so inspired, so connected, so excited about a new idea, a new communication, a new project, a new educational pursuit that might come in for you. And this inspiration could come in through a relationship. You might be, this is a week where you're going to be feeling good too. So this is a great week for Virgos in particular. If you want to get a haircut or a makeover or change something about your body or your physical appearance, this is a time where you can be inspired to do that as well. And that could actually be beneficial for you with Venus on your ascendant or on your sun or even on your moon. On the moon, maybe it's more of an internal makeover and coming back into balance emotionally, right? But with the ascendant or with the sun, this could be like a physical change. Get a new wardrobe, buy those fancy boots that you want or whatever it is. Because I don't think you're going to regret it, especially if it's something unusual that you wouldn't normally do. In general, anything unusual that you wouldn't normally do that comes to you through a message, through an email, through a text message, through a phone call, through some sort of communication is going to be great for you. And I love this energy for some sort of spontaneous travel plans, if that's available to you and accessible to you, or a spontaneous connection with somebody in a foreign country, if that's available and accessible to you. This actually is something that you'll feel inspired about this week. You'll have this new idea, and maybe it's even that you want to teach something new or take a new course or something like that. But it's not necessarily going to fully manifest or fully come to fruition this week. It's something that you'll have to revisit in a couple of weeks around October 19th, and it'll fully be made manifest toward the middle of November. And so be patient. Just because it doesn't turn into something, it doesn't mean it's not a great idea, because it probably is. The other thing that's going on here is still that tension between the 8th and the 5th house. Mars is heating up and squaring Pluto. And so this is an energy where you might feel obsessed over wanting to do something that's really exciting or that you love to do because you're passionate about it. Or this could be an obsession over some sort of financial issue that you feel like you really need to control. If that is the case, surrender, don't push it, don't do it all at once, because that's going to create a little bit of a mess. And if you haven't already done so, head on over to my 6-month forecast for Mars and Aries, where I talk about this in a little bit more detail. I'm going to have that pulled up at the end of this video. Okay, and then for Libra and for Libra rising. So for Libras, of course, there is a little bit of tension with that Mars square to the stellium in Capricorn in your 4th house. And so relationship issues could still be there. There could be power struggles and control issues and obsessiveness over relationships. Jealousy even could be an issue in relationships right now that becomes very intense and very heated. If that is the case, you don't need to act on it. You don't need to control everything your partner's doing. And if your partner's controlling you, take a step back and separate yourself from that situation rather than exploding. And if you haven't already done so, definitely head on over to my forecast for the entire 6-month period of Mars and Aries. I'm going to have that pulled up at the end of this video. But the positive energy that's happening this week is in your area of finances and friendship and potentially relationships. I would say, actually, that's not friendship, sorry. It's in the area of finances and also rest, relaxation, and reprieve. And so meditating, spending time in solitude, seclusion, pulling yourself away, as I mentioned before, pulling yourself away from really difficult, tense, crazy situations where you're obsessing over things and where you're really dwelling on it. That's going to be one of the best things you can do for yourself this week, because if you take that time to rest and to just enjoy yourself and to separate yourself from whatever it is that's weighing you down, you're going to feel inspired, and you're actually going to, by taking time off, even if you take time off from work, you're going to create a situation where you might be able to make more money. You might have a new idea, a new project, or a new investment plan, a new budget that could actually serve you very well in the future. And so you're going to be inspired to make really positive, powerful new financial decisions. And that doesn't mean that you do it right now. It doesn't mean that it's manifesting right this second. This is just the initial inspiration. And it's going to liberate you from anything that feels stuck, stagnant, or oppressive financially. And it'll come back around near the period in October 19th due to the Mercury retrograde cycle. And then it'll be finalized, resolved, it'll manifest and come to fruition more toward the middle of November. So, just be patient, even though this is kind of an exciting energy, because things will take hold and things will manifest, even if they don't fully form this week. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this energy with the Uranus-Mercury opposition and this really nice energy here with Venus, this is actually a time where you might feel inspired to try something new or to change something involving your work, especially your daily work habits and routines. But this is really going to help you to come back into balance and to have a much better, more harmonious, beneficial experience in your overall career. So this could be that you have an opportunity that comes to you through a superior, through a boss, through somebody who's in a position of power and authority. Even if you own your own business, this could be you looking to somebody else who you look at as an authority, and they give you this really intense inspiration, and you know that this is where you need to take things, especially on that day-to-day level when it comes to your work. This is a new project maybe coming in for you that's really exciting, involving your work, your daily routines. This could also be you shaking things up when it comes to your health and your health habits and looking at new, exciting, innovative, really outside of the box ways to heal your body or to maintain good health. And that actually, the source of inspiration could come to somebody who you look to as an authority in the medical field or in an alternative healing field in particular. This is definitely a time where if you've been feeling stagnant, stuck, repressed in the area of your daily habits, your daily life, your daily routines, now's a time where you're going to feel inspired and things will shake up and change in a positive direction for you. It doesn't mean it's all going to happen this week. This is just where you get a message, you get an invite, you get an inspiration, And, in a couple of weeks, around October 19th, it'll come back around, and then it'll fully be formed and manifest for you probably more toward the middle of November. So just, sit tight, hold on to this inspiration, write it down even, because it will come back around for you most likely. It's just, it needs a little bit of refinement before you can jump in. The other thing that's going on here is that there could be some financial stress or strain. There could be something you're obsessing over when it comes to your finances, or power and control issues that involve your finances that might be a little intense for you this week. It doesn't mean you need to fix it. It doesn't mean you need to do the thing right now. If you're obsessing over a big purchase, definitely I would say hold off or take your time with that. This isn't necessarily the best time for something along those lines. And so definitely, if you haven't already done so, hop on over to my 6-month forecast for Mars and Aries. I'm going to post the video at the end of this video so you can watch that next, because I talk about this in greater detail there. Oh, that was already Sagittarius. Oh, did I skip Scorpio? Oh my goodness, I skipped my own sign. That was Sagittarius. Now we're going backwards to Scorpio. So those of you who are doing the timestamps here, you're going to be jumping around all confusing. All right, so back to Scorpio. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, I missed my own rising sign. So for Scorpio rising, this is where you're going to feel really, really inspired to make new connections, to make new friendships, to connect with people. This is a great week to socialize. And especially if you are a Scorpio sun, moon, or rising with your sun, moon, or rising sign, anywhere from 4 to 14 degrees, you're going to be feeling this really liberating, really exciting, really enthusiastic energy in a very positive, very intense way. This is where a really crazy, really outside of the box, off the wall, new idea can come through a relationship, can come through your partner, can come through one-on-one interactions, or can come through group interactions, or through your friends or your social network. This is also where, if you are single, a new relationship could come in, or a new friendship could come in for those of you who are partnered, or a new, maybe even like a new business contact or something like that. But this seems more like fun and social. So get out there, socialize. You might meet someone new who's going to be a very important part of your life into the future. And this isn't something where it's going to fully make sense or fully manifest right now. This is where an idea or an inspiration or a need to change something will come up this week. It'll probably come through a message or through like a thought or an idea, but it will come back around, and you'll have to refine it and revisit it toward the middle end of October, so around October 19th, and then it'll fully manifest or come to fruition or really make sense for you around November 17th, so in the middle of November. So just sit tight, even if it just comes up and it's exciting and it's like, what was that all about? And it doesn't turn into something this week, that's okay. It probably won't, but it will turn into something, so hold on to that. The energy for Scorpio where things are tense is in the area of health, daily habits, health routines. You might be obsessing over a health issue, or obsessing over some sort of health or nutritional goal, or a body goal of some kind. And this isn't the time to push. This is the time to surrender, release, let it go, take stock of what's going on here, and then take small measured steps to achieve those goals, to accomplish what you need to accomplish. This is also where there could be intense communications or intense energies around your work, where you feel like you're so busy, you have so much to do, you're obsessed with putting a message out there, you're obsessed with getting things done, or you're obsessed with an important plan or project. Definitely don't obsess over it too much. Surrender, let it go, don't push too hard, because you're going to be more prone to burnout and health issues right now. And if you haven't already done so, hop on over to my 6-month forecast for Mars in the sign of Aries. I'm going to post a link to that at the end of this video, so stay tuned and stick around for that. All right, now we're on to Capricorn and Capricorn rising. So for Capricorns, this energy is happening, let's see here. This energy is actually hitting you in a way that's going to be much more positive. You do still have that energy with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter in the sign of Capricorn that's going to be hitting you kind of hard, especially if you're a late degree Capricorn sun, moon, or rising. So if your sun, moon, or rising sign is anywhere from 20 to 30 degrees, you're going to be feeling this Mars tension and this obsessive energy. It's kind of like you're obsessed with with doing what you need to do or creating something really important for yourself, or acting on your own willpower, your own volition. This could also be obsessing over issues pertaining to your home and family. Don't push too hard. Don't obsess too much, because things are not going to be resolved right now. And if you push it, you could create a little bit of a mess. This could also be anger toward family members or toward a situation involving your home and family. Again, take a step back, separate yourself from the situation before you move forward, because you could cause some trouble for yourself. And if you haven't already done so, hop on over to my forecast for Mars and Aries for the entire 6-month period that it is in the sign of Aries. I'm going to post that link down or at the end of this video for those who haven't already watched it, so you can watch it next. But the positive energy that's happening is actually hitting you quite nicely. So this is a time where if you are a Capricorn, Sun, Moon, or Rising, especially anywhere from 4 to 14 degrees, you're going to be feeling the more inspiring, more exciting, more rebellious, sort of inspired energy that's coming up this week. This is a really great week for socializing, and this is a really great week for some sort of group interaction or a group course. Especially some sort of learning opportunity within a group of people that is going to allow you to network and to connect with other people, or maybe it's being done via the internet or using technology that's going to be allowing you to learn something new about a thing that you really love, or a hobby or an interest or something that you're deeply passionate about. So look out for those types of opportunities this week. This is also a great social week for you. I mean, you're going to have some really great energy where messages, inspiration, new ideas that can help to shake you out of any stuck, stagnant energy, especially in your love life or in your personal life when it comes to the things that bring you joy. This is a really great time for you to connect with somebody who's going to bring you that message, who's going to bring you that idea, who's going to inspire you in the way that you need to feel inspired. But definitely a great time also for educational opportunities, travel pursuits for educational opportunities. It doesn't mean that it's all going to happen this week, but this is where inspiration can come and plans can be made. You'll have to kind of revisit this energy in October, around October 19th, and then it'll fully come to fruition, manifestation, or be resolved probably more toward the middle of November. Okay. And then for Aquarius and Aquarius Rising, this energy with Mercury in opposition to Uranus is happening in your 10th house, which is the house of career and public reputation, in the 4th house of the home and family, and this is also in the 8th house. So this could be a need to change something, or an inspiration that comes in that causes you to change something involving your career and public reputation, that inspires you to change something involving your home and family life, or to create a better work-life balance. It could be like you've been wanting to do this, you've been striving to do this, you're bored with your living situation. It could even be that you want to move and find a new job opportunity, and this is where it suddenly clicks how you can make that happen, or the opportunity comes up. It doesn't mean that it's fully formed or it comes to fruition right now. This is something where you feel that inspiration, that message comes in, that idea comes in, or the opportunity arises, but you have to kind of revisit it and refine it in a couple of weeks around October 19th, and then it doesn't fully manifest or really resolve itself until the middle of November. This could also create a financial opportunity. This could be an opportunity to get the resources that you need to do something really important for your business or for your home. It could be like a loan or a mortgage or something that comes through, so you're able to finally move forward with that move, or maybe an offer on your current home or something like that. But this is a really great time where changes can happen financially, changes can happen with your work, and changes can happen with your home life that will help you to feel more free, right? To have more freedom. And then the other thing too that's going on is there still could be some really intense, really kind of volatile communication coming in this week. This isn't something that you should dwell on or obsess over, and it doesn't mean that you have to react or lose your temper or explode right now. Definitely take a step back, separate yourself from the situation if that does occur, and take your time with it. This is something that I talked about a little bit more in detail in my Mars and Aries forecast for the entire 6-month period that Mars is in Aries, and I'm going to post a link up at the end of this video so you can watch that next if you haven't already done so. Okay, and then finally, Pisces and Pisces rising. So for Pisces, this is actually a really powerful, really positive energy. I love this energy for Pisces, and even the tense energies are not quite as intense for Pisces right now. And so first and foremost, this is a time where you're going to have a new idea, a new opportunity. It's like you're inspired to view the world in a completely new way this week, where your old notions of the way things work, your old ideologies, your old philosophies, your old belief systems are being shaken up completely. And you're getting new information that completely conflicts with your old beliefs, but it's like, aha, this is how it works. Oh my goodness, why didn't I think about this before? Why wasn't I open to this possibility before? This could also be really incredible, exciting opportunities for travel plans, for connections with your community, for new communications, for new relationships. This is a great week to put yourself out there, especially if you're single, and especially if you are a Pisces, sun, moon, or rising, anywhere between 4 and 14 degrees, because new connections will come in, and they'll come in probably either within your immediate community, or maybe even with like some sort of travel opportunity or something like that, or it could be somebody who's traveled to your community that you meet. And so these connections could be romantic, these connections could be really cool, really exciting new friendships with people who you wouldn't normally consider interacting with, and they can completely shake up your preconceived notions about things and open you up to new opportunities, liberate you from your old, stuck, stagnant, stale mindset around something really important that you need to be liberated from. So great week for that. There are some financial tensions though. So it could be that you're obsessing over a financial situation, or it could be that you're obsessing over your friendships or a situation involving your friendships. There could be power struggles, control issues, a lot of intensity there. This isn't the time to try to force your way or control everything that everyone else is doing. You can only control what you're doing. And even if it's like a financial situation, trying to control every little aspect of it and obsessing over it is only going to do more harm. And so take your time, take the necessary steps, and kind of take a step back from it if you can. The energy of this is something that I discussed in greater detail in my 6-month forecast for Mars and Aries, which I'm going to post a link for at the end of this video. And so that's for all 12 signs for this week. And so for next week, things are really, really heating up. And so, next week's astrology and next week's forecast is going to be kind of interesting. And let me actually just get rid of this right here. So for next week, we have 2 major events. Mercury is stationing retrograde at 11 degrees in the sign of Scorpio. It's going to retrograde all the way back to 25 degrees in the sign of Libra. It's stationing in a pretty close opposition still with Uranus, so that Uranian energy we're talking about this week is going to be still very present next week. It might even intensify and cause you to have to kind of really think about something in a new way that's uncomfortable for you. And then by the time it ends the retrograde, it's going to be activating that Capricorn energy and that T-square with Mars. And so, it's likely to be quite intense when we finish out this retrograde in November. So it's a little bit of a more challenging retrograde energy. It's retrograding from Scorpio back into Libra. There's going to be a lot that we're going to have to revisit that we already kind of thought that we dealt with or figured out earlier in September, really. And so that's going to be a big thing that we're going to be discussing next week. So Mercury retrograde happening again. It's already going to be coming up, as if we didn't already have a lot of chaos in the astrology right now. And the big energy that's going to be happening next week is the new moon in Libra. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is one of the most tense, really challenging new moons that I've seen in a very long time. I've been saying that a lot this year, every time there's like a cardinal energy, I feel like with the new or with the full moon. But this is like the new moon in a T-square with Mars retrograde, which is also squaring Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. So this is forming a T-square. So all of that really tense energy that I've been discussing through this video and that I discussed in my Mars and Aries 6-month forecast, that's really going to be coming to a head and coming to a tipping point. This is not a good new moon for like beginning something new that's really important. It's not a good lunar cycle for beginning something new that's really important. It's a good time to let go of things that are detrimental to your life. It's a good time to purge so you can come back into balance that way. And it's also a good time for not only self-preservation, but preserving the relationships and the connections in your life that you really value. So reinforcing those types of things, reinforcing your own needs, protecting yourself, but also looking at the needs of other people and making sure that you're taking care of your relationships. That's going to be a big theme for this new moon and a good way to use this new moon. But again, not the best time for starting something new. So we will talk about that much more in detail next week. And yeah, so if you liked this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, of course, so that way you never miss an important astrology update, and share this video with your friends if you feel like they could benefit from this information. And if you want to learn more about the big energies that are occurring right now, I have a couple of videos for you to watch up here, including that Mars and Aries 6-month forecast. And I will see you all next week.